So now we want to know, how do we update this information automatically into the database? So that we don't have to copy and paste each time we need to update the database. So for that, we're going to use the developer tool, which is here. So if you don't already have it, right click on any tool, maybe like the home, and then say customize the ribbon. So it will take you to this interface, and if you don't have the developer tool, this will be unchecked like so. It will be like so. So all you need to do is check it and click OK. Then it will appear here as a new tab. So next up is we're going to launch the Visual Basic. So you can use Alt F11 or you can click on this directly and it will launch the Visual Basic editor. So it might not look like this. I have customized mine. The syntax for the VBA is quite understandable and quite easy to follow. However, it takes a bit of time and a bit of practice to master it and to learn it. So in this video, I'm not going to go over all of it. I'm not going to teach you from scratch or what it does and what it means. I'm going to just walk you through the code, the logic behind the code, so that now if you're interested, you can pursue it further on your own. The first thing we need to do, let me put this side by side so that you understand what the code is doing and what. Let me close this out first. So to see this in action, I am going to step into it. So by that, I'm going to use F8 so that we execute line by line so that you see how it's working. So I'm pressing F8. Oh, we need to change the supply name. Sorry. So let's go ahead and click on F8. So let's execute the first line. If sheet1.train-scene20 is empty, then we give the message, but it's not empty, it has a value, and the value is, if I hover over that, it's showing that C20 is hydrogen tank. So we have a value. So last entry, what's the last entry? Is 22, as you can see when I hover over that, and then the list is 3, so which is last entry minus 19. So we have 3 items. So check if K8 is empty. It's not empty, so set the PO date. So after I execute that line, the PO date is 5th March 2024. If I execute supplier name is a rig supplier, which is the same as this. So press F8 again, and then the PO number is 1, which is the same here. So message result. So this is a question. So this pops up. Do you want to save this PO? Let's click on yes. So if it's yes, we continue. So if message result is equals to VBS, then let's get the last row. So what's our last row? Our last row is 2. Is that correct? Yes, it's 2 because we don't have data in cell B2. And then so it skips this because these are comments. Comments are assigned an apostrophe at the beginning to indicate that that's a comment. So let's execute this first line and see what happens. So it has inserted dates in 3 rows, which is what we want because our list has 3 items. Let's execute the second line, F8. It has inserted the PO number in those 3 rows. Let's execute the second, the third entry has inserted the supplier name. Then we execute that, inserts the item name. So notice the items are as they are in this list: hydrogen tank, production rig, then hydrogen tanks again. I think we should have changed this to something else, but we're already here. Then let's execute that, 541, 541, and then let's execute the last one, costs. Something wrong with the costs. Oh, it's supposed to be, sorry, let's go back one. So F is supposed to get from J, not from F. It's supposed to get from J20, J. Yes, and then what about the last one? G is supposed to get from L. So it's supposed to get from L and L here. So let's execute this line again and see what happens. So we're in here. Let's execute the cost. So let's make it large. It has inserted the cost. Let's execute the last one. The total cost has inserted the total cost. And then lastly, we get a message that says the PO number 1 has been saved successfully. And if we click on F8 again, we end the subroutine. So that is how the macro will be running. But of course, it will be running much faster once it's in action, because we were just stepping into the code to see how it's working line by line, so that you might have an understanding. So let me go ahead and now maybe change a few details. Let me change the supplier to electric supplier. Let me change this item to maybe something like cables, and I want 100 meters. Let me add another item. Let me say pipes, and I want maybe 200 meters. And let me add something like 1 2 3 4 5. 1 2 3 4. What have we not added? An electric motor, and I want 5 pieces. So we have 5 pieces. We've changed the supplier. Date, let's say this was for date 2. So this is our total. Once I confirm the total, all I need to do now is click on run this macro. So I can click on this button to execute, or I can insert a button here. Let's insert a button, shapes, button, insert a button here, format it to a nice shape with a border, with a shadow, and then I'm going to call it save, so that it's very hard to miss that is a save button. It bold, center it, justify it to the center, and make it very huge, so that is difficult to miss. So, and then I'm going to right click, and then I'm going to assign a macro. So we only have one macro called save PO in this workbook, and I'm going to assign it to that. So once now I click on the save button, you want to save this PO? Yes, PO number 2 has been saved successfully. So if we go to our database, you see PO number 2 is this. We have saved all the information that we have, and we highlight this. The total is 5 million. So our table is 6 million of VAT inclusive as well. So once we save, we need also to clear this, because I'm assuming the next PO will not have the same items. So let's add that in our macro. After we have saved, we need to clear a few cells. So notice we don't need to clear this because this has a formula. We only need to clear this and this, and maybe even this here. So what we're going to do is we are going to say in our macro here, after we have saved and gotten a confirmation, we're going to say sheet with sheet 1. So if we say with and with, by saying with means we won't be repeating all this sheet 4.range, sheet 4.range, sheet 4.range. We can say with sheet 4 and then just start typing at .range. That saves a bit of some few sentences in your code. So with sheet 1, or alternatively, we can create a new subroutine so that we don't mix them up. Let's create a new subroutine. Sub clear cells, and then we're going to say with sheet 1, which is this sheet over here, and with, we're going to say dot range. So we just let's clear the date first. Dot range K9, and put them side by side like so. Dot range K9, is it K9? K8, sorry. Dot range K8, that's the first range we're going to clear. Then we put a comma to assign another range. So notice We can't clear K8 directly because it's merged between K8 and L8. We have to absolutely reference the two. So K8 to L8 from the first merge cell to the last merge cell. The same with the supplier name is from C12 to E12, C12 to E12. And then we're also going to clear C20 to G41, C20 to G41 dot clear contents. So let's see whether that changes anything. So I'm just going to click on F8, 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 F8. So there we are. We need also to do that for the quantities. So let's write a comma and then I22, I41. Let's execute that again. There we are. So now the PO template is ready to receive the next PO. So we are also now going, so once we've saved, we're going to call clear cells, clear underscore cells. That's it. So once if we try to save this now, since we don't have information, we're going to get a number of error messages. Sorry. There are no entries to save, or the first row is empty, which is this. And even if we do that and say 4, if we save that, cannot save, please insert a date. So let's insert 02, 03, 2024. If we save, cannot save, please select a supplier. So we also need to select a supplier here, prime movers. And if we save, do you want to save? Now it wants us to confirm whether we want to save. Let's click on yes. The PO number 3 has been saved successfully. Okay, it clears the details. So I think that's it. We've completely automated the file. And if you want to maybe change a few things, you can do that as well. And so that is how you automate the file. We've already created a PO template. We've saved a few records. So for supplier, adding new suppliers, you can just start typing the names down here, and items you can just start typing them down here. And so that's it.